happy that Martin Short is with us this morning to get to know the man behind all of those characters.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Where does it all come from? In your head?
Yeah. I didn't read it somewhere and type it and hope that I wouldn't be found out.
You created these characters, right?
Yes, I did.
I love reading about Marty's background from Ontario, Hamilton, Ontario. Right. But your dad grew up in County Armagh, Ireland.
Crossmaglen, County Armagh.
Yeah, and
Northern Ireland.
The Short Bar has been running for 300 years.
Yes,
Is that true?
Short's Bar.
Short's Bar.
Absolutely.
And your dad has a great sense of humor, I've heard.
Yes. Hysterical.
Yeah. The whole family.
Very funny. Very funny. Very funny family.
Yeah. And what did you think that maybe that for a while you didn't really want to go into comedy because it was a very personal thing?
Well, I didn't want to go into Second City, which was more writing and just concentrating on comedy. Because comedy had been such a second nature thing in our family, it seemed odd to do it professionally only.
Interesting. Second City. Belushi was in Second City in Chicago, and then the spinoff was in Toronto, right?
Right. Started in '73 in Toronto.
Yeah, and you worked in good company. Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd.
Right.
When they were doing SNL, Saturday Night Live, was your mouth watering? Because I would think the opportunity to do live comedy and improv every week is a great opportunity.
Well, actually, I didn't do Second City stage until 1977. That show started in '75. So when it first came on, I admired it, but I didn't have any real desire to do it. It wasn't until after I did Second City that the idea of doing live television seemed more exciting. And then I got involved in SCTV, which certainly to me was more exciting than
That's
SNL.
Second City television,
Yes.
right? What is it like, and how do you get over the nerves of knowing you are live and you are doing comedy? I mean, the timing is so enormous. Could you do anything now, having done this?
I'm having problems with this show.
You mean this morning?
Yeah. No, you know, it's very odd. It's actually interesting because you have, when I would do SCTV or anything, film or tape, I mean, you do 5 and 6 and 7 takes, and sometimes you just wonder when that magic take was going to happen. And live television invariably makes you do your best take because you have no other choice.
It is true.
And certainly, you don't have the nerves that you think you would because you just have worked all week to this point. And there's just something inside you saying, don't blow it.
All right, well, let me show you something that wasn't blown. This is Thanksgiving, Martin Short style. And you know there's some truth from what I've read in your excitement about holidays. Your wife, Nancy Dolman, says you can't wait for Christmas.
Yeah, I love Christmas.
Your wife was on soap.
Yes, she
Right?
did the 4th year or so.
And you have a little girl, 17 months old, Catherine.
Catherine Elizabeth.
Is she funny like the two of you?
She is hysterical. She's very funny.
Is
yeah,
she really?
She's adorable red-haired little baby.
You know, I watched the Katherine Hepburn Lifestyles of the Relatives of the Rich and Famous. Was that it?
We interviewed Nelson Hepburn.
No, yes.
He was a distant maternal cousin of Catherine. Had never met. He'd sometimes phone her anonymously, and she would hang up. They had no relationship at all.
Oh, I love that. I loved it because there was no put down, and it is amazing how good you are at her. Did she respond at all to that?
No, I haven't heard from Kate. I haven't.
Kate, if you're watching,
I
that's
sit by the phone, but darn it, she won't call.
What's the fine line between offensive and funny, especially with the mental Ed Grimley?
You mean with impersonations or just any character?
Yeah, well, you know, because the fine line between being offensive, those that really do deal with that issue, I don't mean to get too heavy here, but you know, the business of being offensive because of the words, the word mental especially. I mean, does anybody ever gripe about that?
No. It's a term that certainly has been used by others. It makes me mental as kind of a more modern expression. As
Makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an equal, I guess, put down if you want to put it that perspective. But certainly the fine line of comedy generally in taste is always personal.
I really must say, Marty, that my
Yeah.
son-in-law, Jeff, does Ed Grimley all the time, and he's got it down. You better be careful. You have to be dancing around, though, to do Ed, don't you?
Yeah, well, Ed can slip in occasionally. You never know when he's going to appear, I must say.
Oh, it is great. It must be so much fun to work Saturday Night Live. I just interviewed Howard Cosell, and you've worked with him.
Howard did the last show. He was amazing. He was so much energy, so much commitment to the show. He did 2 films, which meant, you know, when you see these films on the show and you think, oh, that's nice, they're films. But what it has meant is that, you know, he got up at 6:30 in the morning, 2 mornings and days to shoot these films. He had amazing commitment. He was very heavy in the show. He was great.
Yeah. Are you going to stay with SNL for a long time?
No, this is just 1 year.
It is 1
Yeah.
year. Why?
It's an 80 to 100-hour work week, and when you have a child and a life, you know, you really like to do it, but you have to do other things as well.
Your family should be congratulated because it's interesting. You have kept yourself straight, and you say you mentally are strong. You know who you are, and that must be a real pleasure to be able to have the release of comedy and acting, but also know family's important.
Well, I just think it's a priority. Obviously, this is a job. It shouldn't be much more than that. I mean, I would do, you know, some shows of Saturday Night Live next year.
You would,
4
but
or
not
5
regularly.
Shows, but as a regular basis, it's a long commitment to make.
Marty, do me a favor. We have to now take a break, and coming up, news, weather, and TV baffle. Would you pick a character and tell our audience? Do you mind?
News, weather, what is it called?
News, weather, and TV baffle.
TV baffle.
Stay around,
You don't
Marty.
need a character. You've got it just with the words.
Yeah, you got it. We'll be right back.